Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today on Outer Limitless Lights, we are going to look at a couple of really cool products from the company Wuben. Now Wuben is a company whose products I've been taking a look at for quite a while now, and they just have really intriguing form factor. If you go back to the X3, just really unique and really, for me, one of the first lights that I saw where they were leveraging these square angles, yet swiveling heads and giving you different sort of degree or, the ability to project your light in different directions. The X2, which was this just gorgeous aluminum, chunky, blocky flashlight, yet with triple beam on the front and just good punch, changing it up in terms of their mechanism and how you actually activate the light, and just a very interesting and unique package. Wuben always doing a great job, but today the X2 Pro, and not only are we going to look at the X2 Pro, which I've been carrying in my pocket now for literally weeks, but this brand new model, the G5, a smaller version, not quite the same, but it falls right in line with the rest of all of these awesome Wuben products. So with that, we're going to turn around the camera and get into it. So as we get things started here, again on Outer Limitless Lights, this is my lighting channel. So if you like what you see here, check out my other channels in the Outer Limitless brand. From my primary channel, which covers hiking, camping, and backpacking adventures, all the outdoor gear, to my Outer Limitless 2, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. Outer Limitless blades covering all my sharp and pointy things, so from knives, axes, saws, things like that. And then here, Outer Limitless Lights. So the X2 Pro. I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Wuben who did provide these for review. But the X2 Pro I saw at SHOT Show 2025. The guys at Wuben did an awesome job just demonstrating this flashlight, really showing the capabilities. And this is an awesome offering for somebody who may be in emergency response. It has the ability to potentially signal, has the ability to investigate, has a few different ways of operating it. This would make an amazing light for a mechanic. This is also just a great general EDC. Now, as you take a look at this in a little bit of detail, this is not exactly beat up, but after a couple weeks of use, you can see some nice patina on this in some locations where just a little bit of the surface paint has rubbed off, and just this has had great use. And so far, I've loved this flashlight. Now, this has a maximum beam output of 1500 lumens, and that is on the front set of LEDs. And as you take a look here, this thing is just chock full of LEDs across the main bezel, the side of the flashlight. And that's what I'm saying about Wuben. They just do things a little bit different, but it's all extremely functional and really cool. The head here does swivel, so that gives you the ability to cant this in different directions. And as you notice right away, the clip itself, well, this is what I'm going to call a bezel up carry. So when you have this clipped in your pocket, you'll notice that this does go bezel up, which I'm not typically like a huge fan of. However, given the form factor and the fact that this has a forward-facing light, that does work much better. So I can't necessarily see this having gone any other way, and I'm glad that they built this the way they did. An extremely robust clip, you can see there. Excellent overall just shape and form. Even though these are button screws, they do not get in the way. I haven't had any problems with the snagging really on my pocket at all. And it's a thick and stout clip, which I think is important for a utility-driven flashlight like this. Now you can see I do have two different versions. Keep in mind the fact that the black one leverages a secondary UV light, and the white leverages a secondary red, green, and blue light. So we're going to look at both of those in detail. But as we take a look at the one I've been carrying right away, you'll notice that this also has a tail switch. Well, that is an add-on feature that you can include if you so choose. So this comes with it. So you can choose whether or not you want to leverage that tail switch to turn on and off the light. and it's really meant for the primary light on the front. So as you take a look here, turning that on, turning that off. Now, this also has the side switch, so as we press here, turning the light on, turning the light off. You need to keep in mind the fact that this has multiple modes. So the first thing is this has a mechanical lockout. So all the way to the bottom, this light at this point is fully locked out, and no matter what you do, it's basically just going to flash sometimes and tell you that it's not going to turn on, but that light will not turn on. Now, if I put this in the middle of that switch, that's going to operate the front, and that's going to be a multi-brightness LED, or if I long press the side switch, that's going to put it into the UV mode. So again, long press there, switching between those modes. Now that I'm on this, you can see that that side switch is also a dial, which is really cool. So I can dial that. You'll see it flashes at the limits. So all the way down, it flashes. All the way up, it flashes. So that can go very bright. And that's a nice wide floodlight capable of really illuminating everything in front of you with ease, which is really cool. So bottom line is at this point, you can see that tail switch does nothing. The tail switch is only used for the front LEDs. But at this point, I can turn that on, and that's flipping that switch and lockout all the way to the front, which at this point does allow you to turn the light on and off. Now keep in mind the fact that this will come in and turn on in whatever brightness you have the front LEDs set to. And the way you set it is with that same side switch dial. So if I turn that on, you can see at this point I have the ability to go all the way down or all the way up and change that beam depending on what I'm trying to do. Now that's going to be with the dial, it's actually going to be the spot or flood. So you'll see here, that's the spot mode, so a tight hot spot, and then widening out, that's going to be the flood. And I can change the intensity by long pressing the side switch. So here, low, medium, high, low, medium, high. And again, that's what the tail switch is going to remember. And so at this point, once the light's off, I can leverage that switch. And that's going now to come back in wherever I had this set. So at the same flood or spot settings and at the same brightness settings. But the tail switch, momentary press or a full switch to turn it on. Again, you cannot change the mode at all with that tail switch. But clearly you can see the multi-mode and the ability to change your settings here is really cool. And I love the idea that you can dial this from that super tight hotspot or flood all the way out. It will be easier for you to see this if I angle down. So that's that spotlight and then widening out into the flood. You can see it goes from a tighter beam right there into nice and even. And I'm going to long press. We'll put that in the lower lumen output mode. So again, you can see there, hot spot, and then widening out, evening out that beam. It's a very cool light. The Wuben X2 Pro is phenomenal. It's really, really cool. But let's just say you don't want to leverage the tail switch. The battery compartment has a lock, and if I unlock it and then lean down on it, it pops that open, and the tail switch comes right off. And at this point, you can see that's your battery compartment, leveraging two 920 milliamp hour batteries, a 14500 3.7 volt, translating to 3.4 watt hours of power. Again, you have two. These are basically like a AA battery, which you can put one in and the light still works. So look at that. You have the ability to now run a single battery if that's all you have available. Or if you only have a standard AA and you don't have the ability to charge your light, well, let's see how that goes. No problem. So the Wuben X2 Pro is very flexible. And if you were to leverage this as like a crew light or something where, more than one team member used them, and you had a bunch of batteries, You can share if you run out. You can swap them. You have a lot of flexibility, the rechargeability, the multi-LEDs, and even as far as the ability to leverage this for that black light, I think is really pretty cool. Now, I don't necessarily myself have a ton of reason to need the black light, but you could use it if that's something in your line of duty. However, I'm going to say that at this point, well, we can leverage the other version, which is equally as cool, but as we turn this on and long press, well, now you have your different LEDs, and we're going through all these different colors. So you can go red, yellow, purple. You just scroll that wheel and you go between all these different modes. Double press there, it blinks. So again, you can scroll between the different colors. Now you have to do that independent. So you'll see now, let's get that on the red. Double press, that will blink. And so that does give you a beacon and the ability to signal, which I think is fantastic. And the way Wuben described it is the reason why they offer so many colors is so if you have different squads or different groups within your party, you can set this as an indicator and differentiate out your teams, which I think is such a unique and just interesting way about going to do things. And so on the X2 Pro, the other thing worth mentioning is this does have the magnetic tail cap. So if you're not going to leverage the pressure switch, you do have the ability to take advantage of this honking magnet, which of course will stick to steel, no problem. So just very cool that you have that nice large magnet, again, making this really useful for mechanics. In the case of the one with the red blinking light, you could put this on the side of a vehicle to notify people if you're in distress. I just think it leaves this light extremely flexible, versatile, and it's unique. So the Wuben X2 Pro is magnificent. Now as we get into the G5, very, very small, extremely compact, and this would just make such an awesome light to simply add to your everyday carry. Now, granted, here's the X2 Pro. Much larger, but much more capable. Yet, the G5 has some things that make it very capable on its own. First off, this is an integral battery, so you do have the ability to charge this via USB charging port, which I think is interesting. As you take a look at the side here, you're going to see, first off, that is fully locked out in this position. Then you have your run modes, but you can slide that all the way forward, and that exposes your USB Type-C charging port. As we go back to the run mode, now this is ready to go. And you do have a couple of different run options. Now, as we take a look at this here, that magnetic capability right on the back end. So this can stick to a number of different items. Again, I think that's fantastic. As you take a look at the head, you'll notice right away 2 LEDs, and this swivels to the fully forward position, making this definitely flexible in terms of how you'll use it. But I do like the fact that this goes to 90 degrees, which makes this so useful in so many ways, and you can just swivel that beam to the exact location that you need it. I think that's just really cool. But what about a clip? As you look, it's very clean in profile. Well, they've worked the clip into the side. You can see that cutout there. They've worked that clip into the side, and it's a bit of a spring clip that just sort of opens up, so you can slide that onto your gear and get that where you need it. It's a neat take on that. I don't know how practical it is, but only time will tell. Further use and practice will go a long way. But turning on the light here with the side switch, so right there, that side switch, single press, right away you'll notice I have the ability to swivel between the 2 different LEDs. So at this point, running the main LED, so that has the ability to dim this all the way down or turn it up, leveraging that swivel. So that's easy, so that dial there. You'll see as I work this down onto the surface, turning that up to max brightness. Maximum brightness here, that's 400 lumens. and then swiveling this back down and dimming it all the way down, that is 2 lumens. So a nice range from 2 lumens on the lowest all the way up to 400 on the brightest. That should do most things you need for general EDC. And so let's just say, for example, I set this part way up, just, a little bit up. So this is probably in the 50 lumen range roughly. Now on that side switch, a quick double press, that's going to go all the way up to 400. Another quick double press, and that comes down to where you have it set. So you can swivel and toggle really quickly between the mode that you have it set at and then that highest 400 lumen output. So that's pretty cool. That covers the main light. But a long press now, and that's going to that side light, which again, just like the G2 Pro, I have the ability to run this dial to any color that I want. Blue, turquoise, green, yellow, coming into red. So there's my red. And that gives me the ability now to leverage this red light for general reading, camp tasks, things like that. Or I can use it as a signal indicator. Quick double press here, and you'll see that this goes into that beacon mode and really does allow this to become more of a signaling device at this point, which I think is really cool. So again, even though this is a very small light, Wuben does a nice job to put a ton of features in such a tiny little package. And that's what they're able to do with multiple LEDs and then a multi-function side switch. So really smart in terms of the build, the programming, and the general construction. And one last thing about the RGB LED. If the light is on and in that position, so leaving it in the sort of red mode here, it doesn't matter what color, but if we leave it there and then turn the light off, now a double press, it's going to put this in that fast strobe mode, and you'll see it's toggling between red and another color. So at this point, it's kind of like red and greenish, and that definitely will catch your attention. Another double press, and you can see here, changes it to blue, red and blue. Another double press, red and green. You can see, kind of mixes up the mode. So again, very functional in an extremely small package. And so there's no doubt that Wuben has some excellent flashlights, incredible construction, feature rich, and just thinking outside the box. They're different than other companies. Now you might look at the X2 Pro and say, that's a little chunky for my pocket. I don't like something in that form factor. I get it. It's not traditional, so it's not going to be for everybody. However, I can say that if you're willing to put this in your pocket and leverage some of the different sort of EDC pocket space that you probably have, whether it's in a bag, in a system, it's in a pouch, or even on your person, this will fit. And it gives you a ton of different options, extreme flexibility, and the ability to have multiple ways of not only leveraging the light itself, but signaling, in this case UV, and in this case with that RGB light. Just really cool. So I love what Wuben's doing. Not only that, but you have the dual fuel capability. You can go down to one single battery, no problem. And if you like something like that, but you want the smaller package, you can take a look at this G5. Again, just an awesome offering. And this does come with a little key ring adapter that you can put on here. So not only can you leverage this for your sort of basic EDC needs, you can put it right on a keychain and connect it to your keys. It's tiny. I mean, it's a very small light, so no problem there. And all in all, they're just really cool, well made, great products from Wuben. And so again, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Wuben who did provide these for review. For all of the rest of you, look in the description box below where you can find all of the relevant links for your own Wuben products. Whenever possible, I put affiliate links, I put discount codes, so look in the description box below, get yourself some awesome Wuben products. If not the X2 Pro or the G5, they will definitely have a product for you. And as I mentioned, take a look at my Outer Limitless family of channels. Look in the description box below where you can find all of the links for my other product gear reviews. And so, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.